Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. This is Nitya Narasimha Das from Mathura Desh, Mataji. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you so much for joining and giving a beautiful association this morning. Are you joining for the first time, Prabhuji?
No, Mataji. I am regularly joining last couple of months, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining. Please keep giving us your association. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Shivani Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Preeti Dasi from Charlotte. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you so much for joining and giving a beautiful association this morning. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I welcome you all to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call for this mid-morning session. Today we are very fortunate to have the association of Her Grace Kirtida Sundari Mataji. Mataji will be enlightening us on Sri Caitanya Bhagavata Adi Khanda 4.108 onwards. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for giving your valuable time and wonderful association this morning. We're very fortunate to have you on the call. Hare Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Please take over the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Shivani Mataji, Dandavat Pranams. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharajas, all glories to all the assembled Vaishnavas for the valuable.
Mataji, just give me a minute. I'm going to mute everyone and then I'll just run.
Yeah. Allow participants to unmute that. I am removing Mataji.
Okay, so as you all know, my voice is not supporting, but I'm pretty sure with all your prayers, with all your blessings, and of course, reciting dear most Caitanya Bhagavata, my voice will come back. And that will be beneficial for me too. So thank you so much for all of your association. We'll start now. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vidamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchatattvatatvam Krishna Bhaktarupa Sarupakam Bhaktavtaram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Vishnu padaya Krishna prasthaya bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalum pangum langayate giram yat kripatam ham vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram Guruve Gaura Chandrai Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Bhaktai Tad Bhaktai Namo Namah. Anandi Leela Maya Vigraya Hema Bhadivya Chavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Ajanulamba Bhujau Kanakavadhatau Sankirtanaikau Pitarau Kamalayatakshav Vishwambarau Dvijavarau Yugadharma Palau Vande Jagat Priya Karau Karunavatarau Jayati Jayati Deva Krishna Chaitanya Chandro Jayati Jayati Kirti Stasya Nitya Pavitra Jayati Jayati Bhritya Stasya Vishveshwamurte Jayati Jayati Nrityam Tasya Sarva Priyanam Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jaya. Okay, thank you all so much again for your wonderful association. And again, I beseech you to please shower all your prayers, your blessings, your mercy, your wishes so that I can speak relevant to this subject matter. Though it's just a storyline, beautiful pastime of our baby Nimai. But just allow me so that, I may speak something relevant to this subject matter, which is very, very pleasing. Become very, very pleasing to all of your ears. And also because of my throat, maybe I may be able to speak something. So please excuse me, I might drink some water in between because my throat is really dry. So please, in advance, I ask forgiveness for that and allow me to do that. Okay, so we are in the section where Vrindavan Das Thakur is describing very, very beautiful pastimes of baby Nimai. So we heard the beautiful pastime of how, Anantashesh came and he wanted to participate in one of the pastime of Nimai, and how our Nimai was so comfortable sitting on the beautiful bed, cozy bed that was made out of the coils of that snake. But Mother Shachi and Jagannath Mishra and all the Navadvipasis were in so much anxiety seeing Krishna, seeing Nimai on the coils of snake, and seeing them in anxiety. Anantashesh, being a very great devotee, because devotees are always paradukha dukhi, they cannot keep others into anxiety. So seeing them in anxiety, our Anantashesh, he peacefully left, unharming our Nimai, because anyways, his point was that he wanted to participate. But Navadvipasis, they were unaware of that he is Anantashesh. They were considering him as a regular snake who has come and might harm their baby Nimai. So after that pastime was over, we learned so many beautiful lessons from that pastime. Then Vrindavan Das Thakur started describing, and rather, for us, it is, he was basically drawing parallels between Krishna pastimes and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime. So Nimai's pastimes were quite similar to Krishna pastimes, that how Nimai would also go from door to door, house to house, and he would steal, and he would take away all the bananas, the sandesh, all the food items. And but what difference was that in Krishna Leela, everybody will chastise Krishna and they will log their complaints, his complaints to Mother Yashoda. But here all the Navadvipasis were very, very, kind-hearted, very, very sweet-hearted. And even if they'll catch Nimai red-handed stealing, And Nimai would beg, oh, please, please, please forgive me. I'll never come again. I'll never steal it again. Please forgive me this time. And they will see the innocence of baby Nimai and they will immediately say, oh, that's okay, Nimai. It's okay that you have stolen. That's okay that you have broken pots. That's fine. Because his face was so charming. After all, he is Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. He is together in the form of Srimati Radharani and Lord Shri Krishna. So seeing the beauty of Nimai, all the Navadvipasis will immediately forgive him. And he will perform all the similar notorious pastimes, sometimes when he'll not find anything. Krishna, when he doesn't find any butter, any yogurt, any milk in the house of all the gopis, then what he would do? He would just pinch the little child, the little baby of those gopis, and he will just run away. And same our Nimai will do. If Nimai would not find anything to eat, he'll just pinch the child, he'll make the child cry, and then he'll just run away. So Vrindavan Das Thakur is describing these beautiful pastimes, which was also a lesson for all of us that we should always have something to offer because Krishna can come in any form, right? So where we are reading now. Yeah. So we are reading from 107, but in 106, very beautifully, Vrindavan Das Thakur writes, Nija putra haito sabas sneha kare, darshana matra sarva chitta vriti hare. That seeing Nimai, the affection of all the Navadvipasis will spontaneously, it will come. And they will think, and they will rather love Nimai more than their own sons. Nija putra haito, considering Nimai as their own putra, as their own son, they would love Nimai. They would not log complaints to Mother Shachi that Nimai came and he did this and that. They'll never do that. Rather, they will show more affection. And then as their own sons, for the Lord stole everyone's heart just by his presence. Darshana matre, just seeing the child, seeing Nimai, everybody will give away their hearts. Their hearts will be stolen by the beauty of Nimai. So that's the contrast that Vrindavan Das Thakur was also making, because if we see in Krishna Leela, during Brahma Vimohana pastime, the same thing happened. Krishna manifested himself into all the gopis and the calves. Into all the gopas and the calves. And all the gopis, all the elderly gopis were thinking that, because Krishna has become their son now, because all the sons were stolen by Brahma. So Krishna has to manifest himself as the sons of all the gopis. And all the gopis were showering their love towards Krishna more than they would have ever showered to their own sons. So that's a big life lesson that we all have to understand, that this affection towards our son, towards our child, towards our spouse, towards our friends, relatives is ultimately coming from Krishna. If Krishna is not in the center, then all love is just simply waste. Why? Because this lifetime we have a spouse, and do we know that who was my spouse in the previous lifetime? And in the next lifetime, who will be? We don't know. So all these relationships that we have right now is all temporary, but that doesn't mean we disregard it. We regard those relationships, but keeping always Krishna in the center, considering that Krishna is there in the heart of those loving relatives. So definitely we can have that relationship. But that relationship is temporary because our ultimate relationship is towards Krishna. So we'll move on to text 107. That is for today's text. So should I share the screen, or is it okay if I just read it from the book? Anyone has
whatever is comfortable for you. Whatever is comfortable for you.
I'm okay with it. I can share the screen also. Give me time. Okay. So yeah. So this was the verse I was referring. Nija putra haito sava sneha karete darshan matra sarva chitta vriti hare. Just by showing, everyone showed more affection to him than their own sons, for the Lord stole everyone's heart just by his presence. Ei mataranga kare Vaikuntha Rai, Sthira nahi ekathani bolaye sadai. And in this way, you know, the Lord of Vaikuntha, our baby Nimai, would perform all his beautiful pastimes, and Sthira nahi ekathani, and he would not stay at one place because he's a naughty child. And the tendency of a naughty child is that you cannot make him sit at one place and do some particular work. The child will keep wandering here and there. And so our Nimai. So all these naughtiness in today's world that we see in these children is ultimately coming from Krishna, is coming from Vaikuntha Rai, from the Lord of Vaikuntha, that is Shri Narayan. Then now Vrindavan Das Thakur is narrating very, very beautiful pastime, one of the childhood pastime of Nimai. And let's hear it with rapt attention. And it's very, very pleasing to our ears, and very, very life learning lessons we'll get from this beautiful pastime. So there are around 38 to 40 verses that I'm planning to cover in an hour, but because there is not much explanation and not much purport, it's just a kind of a storyline. So we'll just go through all these beautiful verses. Ekadina prabhura dekhiya dui chore, yukta kare kara shishu bedaye nagare. Ekadin, once what happened, two thieves, dui chore, two thieves saw Prabhu, saw baby Nimai, saw our Lord. And then yukti kare, and they started making plans, and they started contemplating that kare shishu bedaya nagare, that whose child is this and why he's wandering. Vedaya, you know, is kind of a courtyard, or you can say on the streets of Navadip. And they were thinking, whose child is this and why he's just wandering around. Prabhu Rashi Anga Dekhi Divya Alankara, Hari Bare Dui Chore Chinta Prakara. Prabhu Rashi Ange, on the Shri Anga, on the limbs of the Supreme Lord, especially on the chest, on the arms, on the ears, you know, Divya Alankara. There were a lot of beautiful, wonderful ornaments were there. So when the ornaments that we wear, materialistic people or people in this material existence, they are maybe precious, maybe expensive. Those ornaments, maybe of gold, diamonds, whatsoever. But when the same ornaments is being worn by the Supreme Lord, it becomes divya, it becomes transcendental. So dekhi divya alankara, hari bare dui chore chinta prakare, and they start considering and making plans to steal those ornaments. Now, one may question that how come the Lord was wearing costly ornaments? Because in the previous session, we saw that how this Brahmana and Brahmini, Mother Shachi and Jagannath Mishra, were not well-to-do. They were a poor class Brahmanas. And that's why we saw that, you know, that how even though they were nirdhana, but still they were so happy seeing Nimai in their home. So now one may question that if they were so poor, so how come Lord was wearing so costly ornaments? So if you all remember, when Nimai was born and he was still in the maternity room with Mother Shachi, at that time we saw that how Vrindavan Das Thakur narrated that all the apsaras, all the goddesses also, they came and they want to see, and they were gifting those, you know, expensive ornaments to baby Nimai. So they were gifting it to Mother Shachi so that Nimai can wear. And even Mother Shachi was thinking that who are these people and they are bringing so costly gifts for baby Nimai. But because, you know, out of shyness, she didn't ask. But actually Vrindavan Das Thakur tells that they were goddesses and demigods, the wives of all the demigods. They were coming and they were seeing baby Nimai and they were gifting these costly ornaments. So baby Nimai was wearing everything, and all the Navadvipasis also. Nimai was so dear to all the Navadvipasis that whosoever will see Nimai, they will take out their own mala and put it on Nimai. The costly ornaments, their earrings, you know, they'll gift it as to Nimai. So Nimai was wearing all those beautiful bracelets, armlets, and beautiful ornaments, and beautiful jewelry he was wearing, and they were quite costly. And seeing him wearing, both the thieves saw, and they started contemplating that now we are going to steal it, because if we'll steal it, then we can retire from this life of being of money, so that we can earn our entire life, with all that money, and we can pass on that life. So this way they were just making all the plans. Bhapa bhapa bhali eka chora laila khole, eta shana kothe chaile ara chora bhole. Bapa re bapa, this way, like we say, bap re, oh Nimai, where are you going? Let us go home. Boli dui chore, both the thieves, they said, why you are wandering? Have you lost your way to your home? Let's go home. We will take you to your home. Hasiya bolya Prabhu, and smilingly the Lord says, Chaliya yeh kare. Yes, take me to my home. Let us go. So this way they took him. Oh, sorry, I mixed two. Bapa boliya eka choriya kole, eta shana kotha chele ara chora bole. One of the thieves said, hey, where have been you so long? Why have been you wandering in these streets? What do you want? Jhata ghara Aisha bapa dui chola bole. Another thief said, okay, let's go home. Let us take us to your home, because you might have lost your way. And hasiya bolya Prabhu chala yai ghare. And the Lord very smilingly said, oh yes, let's go home. आथे व्यथे खोले करी दुई चोरा धाया, लोका बोले यारा शिशु सही लीला लाया. Atha vyathe kola kari. And the two thieves, they were atha vyathe. They were thinking now what to do, because their intention was to steal. Their intention was not to take Nimai back to his home, but their intention was to take Nimai to some isolated place so they can steal the ornaments. So atha vyathe kole kari, that they were, because they don't want to get noticed by any of the other Navadvipasis. So atha vyathe, hastily, they were not thinking exactly what to do, but they just carried Nimai and they started walking, taking them to their own home or to some isolated place so that they can steal. Arbuda loka Keba kare chine mahatushta chora alankara darshane. There were millions, arbuda. There were millions and millions of people in Navadvip. So who could recognize everyone? The thieves, meanwhile, they were greatly satisfied to see the child's ornament. So they were thinking that there are so many people, nobody will recognize me. Us, they were thinking, the thieves were thinking, and let's take the child to some isolated place or to our own home so that they can steal. And the whole way, while carrying Nimai on one of the shoulders, one of the thief was carrying the Nimai on his shoulders, another thief was just walking by, and they were simply thinking, their main concern was to steal the ornaments. So the whole time they were contemplating on the ornaments, and that, I will take the bangles, I will take the necklace, I will take the armlet. So this way they were simply contemplating. So I was also thinking that how, it is that what do we have in our mindset? If we keep thinking about Krishna, definitely at every step the thought of Krishna will come. But if we keep thinking of somebody else, then definitely, our absorption towards Krishna will be lost. Just like when Kamsa, he sent Akrura Maharaj to, Vrindavan to bring Krishna and Balaram. And there is a whole chapter that Sukdev Goswami describes in the 10th canto, that what was the mindset of Akrura? Akrura was continuously absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna and Balaram, and he was simply contemplating that how he will enter Vrindavan and how he will see Krishna and Balaram, how he will pay his obeisances, how they will treat him, how he will be greeted by all the Vrindavan Vasis. And this way he was totally absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna. And this way, he didn't even notice when he came from Mathura to Vrindavan. He entered into Vrindavan. So because he was so purified and he wanted to meet Krishna and Balram, and he was rather being grateful to Kamsa Maharaj, who has sent him to bring Krishna and Balram. So though intention of Kamsa was very wrong because he wants to kill, but still Akrura was thinking that, oh, he was being so grateful to Kamsa that because of him, he was being sent to Vrindavan and now he could see Krishna face to face. So he was really being grateful to Kamsa, and he was thinking that what good fortune he has so that he can see Krishna face to face now after coming to Vrindavan. But here, the thieves, because they are Bahirmukha, they have turned their face away from Krishna. So instead, they were carrying Krishna. They were carrying Nimai, who is non-different from Krishna, on their shoulders. But still, they were not thinking about the good fortune of carrying Nimai on their shoulders. Rather, their thought process was that, when and where can we take this Nimai and steal those ornaments? Why? Because they were so worldly-minded thieves. Keha mane bhave muni nimutada bala ei mate dui chore khaya manha kala. So Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying that because they were contemplating that I will take the bangles and I will take the necklace, I will take the armlets, I will take the nupur, the anklets, I'll take these. So they were just thinking that, on the ornaments. So what Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying, "Ei mata dui chore," this way both the thieves, khai manha kala, they were building castles in the air. So man mein hi kele paka rahe the aur wo kele kha rahe the. Khai manha kala, kela, eating imaginary bananas, Why? Because they were thinking that, we will become so rich, we'll steal all these ornaments and now we will be super filthy rich and we'll retire from this thievery life and then, we can be stable in our entire life by stealing these ornaments. So this way they were eating imaginary bananas. In this regard also, I was thinking that how His Holiness Srimad Radhanath Swami Maharaj would always say that if you want to make Krishna laugh, tell him your plans and he will laugh. Why? Because man proposes and God disposes. So this was that they were simply building castles in the air and they were trying to eat those imaginary bananas and they were thinking that, okay, we'll become filthy rich by stealing these ornaments. But no, Krishna has his own plan. So if you really want to make Krishna laugh, if you want to make Krishna laugh, tell him your plans. Because our plans are never going to be fulfilled unless and until they are aligned to Krishna's will or Krishna's desire. Dui chora chali aya nija marmasthane skandera upara hasiyana bhagavane. And as the two thieves went towards their destination, Dui chora chali aya nija marmasthane, because they want to take Nimai to their destination, some isolated place or some to their own home where they can nicely steal those ornaments. So as they were walking towards their destination, the Lord was smiling. He was smiled while riding on the thieves' shoulders. Skandare upare. Skandara means on the shoulder. The Lord was there on their shoulder and Lord was simply smiling. So basically, Nimai was enjoying the ride. Why? Because he was on the top of the shoulder and he could not, because baby Nimai, babies when they walk, they cannot see anything. If you have seen that, especially those who are from their 80s and 70s and 80s or 60s, when we go to some mela or some event, then our parents, because we'll not be able to see something, we are children at that time. So what our parents will do, our parents will take us on our shoulders and will show us the entire mela or the entire event that is happening. So same way our Nimai was simply enjoying sitting on the shoulders of those thieves and he was watching the entire Navadvip very nicely. एक जना प्रभुर संदेश देहा करे, आरा जना बोले ए आलिंगना घरे. And one of the thief was carrying and another thief was giving a sandesha, piece of sandesha, so that Nimai doesn't get bored and doesn't start crying because of hunger. So he has brought a lot of sandesh with him. So he was feeding Nimai nicely, another thief, he was walking and he was feeding Nimai nicely. So our Nimai was enjoying his ride, this pastime, very, very beautifully. He was on the top of the shoulder like a king, now he's been treated and he's offered sandesha. Nimai loves sandesh. So he's been offered sandesh. So what else he needs? And of course, he's the Supreme Lord. Ara jana bole, and the other thief says, hey, Alina Gare, don't worry, Nimai, don't worry. We are almost home. We are almost home. So this way they were trying to pacify Nimai also. Though he was not crying, but from their own side, all the thieves were thinking, okay, they were pacifying, they were feeding, and one of the thief was carrying Nimai on the shoulders. E mata bhandiya aneka durayaya hetayata apta gana chaya vedaya. In this way, the thieves deceived the Lord because they were trying to cheat the Lord. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that I am the cheater of all the cheaters. But as they took him far away, the Lord's relatives began to search for him. So now he was being taken far away, and now Vrindavan Das Thakur is shifting his narration from thieves to Navadvipasis, the home of Nimai. And Lord's relatives were trying to search for Nimai. And what they were saying, keha bole Aisha Vishambhara, keha dake Nimai kariya ucha swara. So now Vrindavan Das Thakur is focusing on the home of Nimai, how Mother Shachi and Jagannath Mishra and all the Navadvipasis, the neighbors, the relatives, the friends, they were thinking, oh, where Nimai has gone? They were not able to see Nimai. And in search of Nimai, they were calling out, keha bole, Aisha Vaishambar, come Vaishambar, where are you? Because this was the name given by Nilambar Chakravarti. So all the men were crying out by the name of Vishambar. Keha dake Nimai kariya uchaswara. And all the ladies, they were crying out, saying Nimai, because this was the name given by all the chaste ladies of Navadvip. So they were crying out. So this way they were loudly chanting Nimai's name, Vishambara, come here, where have you gone? And all the ladies were also shouting Nimai, because they were not able to see him. Parama vyakula hailana sarva jana jalavina haina haya matsera jivana. So very beautifully Vrindavan Das Thakur is narrating the mindset of all the Navadvipasis, that how they all became overwhelmed like a fish without of water. Jalavina haya matsera jivana. Just like the fish cannot stay without water. What is the condition of a fish when the fish is out of the water? She struggles for a moment, and then finally she gives up the body. The fish gives up its own body. Similarly, the position of all the parents and neighbors of Nimai was the same, that, Mother Shachi and Jagannath Mishra, their condition was the fish out of water. Why? Because they were not able to see their own, the life of their whole, they couldn't see Nimai, who was their life and soul. They were not able to see Nimai. So they were simply crying out for Nimai. Sava sarva bhave laila govinda sharana prabhulana yaya chora apana bhavana. So in this way, because their condition was that they were overwhelmed like a fish out of water, and sometimes we are also in such conditions, some helpless condition where we can't do anything. Like the previous pastime that we saw, where Nimai was on the coils of that Anantashesh. But what was the condition of Mother Shachi and Jagannath Mishra? That they were feeling helpless. They can't do anything, because if they go near to the snake will harm the child. And they just cannot sit quietly. So what did they do? They started calling Garuda Garuda, right? Because they took shelter of the pure devotee of the Supreme Lord. So similarly here also, now their condition is again helpless. They were not able to find their baby Nimai, and baby Nimai was actually their life and soul. They cannot survive without seeing Nimai. So their condition was exactly like that of a fish out of water. And so what did they do? Govinda Sharana. They again took shelter of Govinda. And that is the life lesson for all of us. When we also feel that all the doors of our, solution to all our problems, the doors of solution of all our problems, when they are closed, then what we do, we also take shelter of the Supreme Lord. We should also call out to the Supreme Lord. Just like the example is given of Draupadi. What was her condition? She was such a helpless condition. She was amidst the entire Kuru assembly. Her husbands were there, and all the great sages were there, all the elderly Kurus were there, but nobody was able to help her. So finally, she called out Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. She called out for Lord Govinda. So that should be our mood also, that whenever we are in that helpless condition, we should always call out to Govinda. Now, that doesn't mean that only when we are in a distress condition, only then we should call out for the Supreme Lord. No, even when the whole circumstances is conducive for us, for our bhajan, for our livelihood, then also we should be grateful to Govinda. We should always be grateful to the Supreme Lord. And yes, when we are in that helpless condition, then instead of asking help from our relatives, from our neighbors, from our friends, rather we should call out to the Supreme Lord. And that's what they did. Sarva Sarva Bhava Laila Govinda Sharana. They all started out calling helplessly to Lord Govinda. And when somebody calls out with Govinda, with that helpless condition, then our Supreme Lord, being very merciful, being Mahavadannaya, he immediately comes and helps his pure devotees. Just like Gajendra, when Gajendra is calling out in that helpless condition, Bhagavatam explains that Narayan, Krishna, he didn't even wait for Garuda, because normally he used to do Achaman when he sits on Garuda, but at that time he'd forget everything and he was running faster than Garuda. It's been explained in Bhagavatam, because he wants to save his pure devotee, his Gajendra, who was offering a lotus flower, even in that distress condition. It was such a distress condition for Gajendra when his leg was under the jaws of that crocodile, but still with his trunk, he was able to find one lotus and he plucked it and he wanted to offer to that Narayana. And our Narayan is still holding that same lotus in one of his hands, right? Padma. So we should always take shelter of Govinda. And when we take shelter of Govinda with really sincerity, with utmost sincerity, then he never fails. Kaunteya pratijani name bhakta pranishyati. Krishna declares that, please declare, oh Arjuna, you declare that my devotees will never perish. Krishna will immediately come and relieve the distress of his pure devotees. So Prabhu Laya Hayaya Chora Apana Bhavane. So what happened? How Krishna helped? That Nimai, with his own mystic powers, what he did, he bewildered both the thieves, and finally they brought him towards his own home. So Nimai was brought by the thieves to his own home. Vaishnavi Maya Chora Patha Nahi Chine Jagannatha Ghaira Ghare Aila Nija Ghar Jane. So being influenced by the Lord's illusionary energy. So when the Lord bestows his mercy, then his energies come and they start functioning. So Krishna's illusory energy, Maya Devi herself came, and the thieves lost their way because she bewildered the mind of the thieves. See, these thieves are not just the ordinary thieves. They were well good in their profession. They know every nook and corner, every street of Navadip. So for them, not taking Nimai to their own home, bringing Nimai back to his own home, is because they were under the influence of Krishna's illusory energies, of Lord's illusory energy, and therefore they lost their way. And finally, they returned to the house of Jagannath Mishra while thinking, still they were thinking that they have been to their own home, they have brought Nimai to their own home, and now is the time to steal the entire jewelry. But they were thinking that they are bringing Nimai to their own home. But finally, they brought Nimai to the home of Jagannath Mishra. Chora dekhe aila nija marma sthane alankara harite haila savadhane. And when the thieves thought that they have returned to their own host, because they are still thinking that, they are very intelligent, they know everything, and they know every street of Navadvip, and finally they have brought Nimai to their own home. They were trying to prepare to steal Lord's ornaments. They get him down from the shoulder, and now they were thinking that now this is the time, let's steal it. And they were very, very, eagerly waiting for stealing those ornaments. But one of the thief, what he said, Chora dekhe aila nija marma sthane alankare harita haila swadhane. So they were ready to prepare. But one of the thieves said, Chora bole mam nama bapa aila na ghare prabhu bole hi nama satvari. And one of the thieves said, yes, please get down, my child. Here, you have reached your home, because now they were thinking that they have brought to their own home. Now is the time to steal. So they were telling, oh child, come down. See, we have reached home. And even the Lord said, yes, get me down quickly, because he was able to see his parents. He was able to see Jagannath Mishra and Mother Shachi. Ye khane shakala gane Mishra Jagannatha vishada bhavena sabha mathe diya hata. Jagannath Mishra and his associates, they held their heads in lamentation. So this way they were holding that, where is Nimai? But then what happened? Maya mugdha chora chakure re sthe thane skanda haite namaliya ne jagare jane. The thieves, because they were illusioned by Maya mugdha, they were totally mugdha, they were totally illusioned by Maya Devi. So they set the child down at that very place, but that very place was the own home of our dear Nimai. But they were still thinking that they have brought Nimai to their own home. Namilai matra prabhu gela pitra khole mahanananda kare sabha hari hari bole. The Lord immediately went to the lap of his father, because when the child said, yes, get me down. At that time, he saw that his father was holding his head in his palms and he was lamenting. But immediately the Lord left the thieves and he immediately ran towards his father and went to his lap. And everybody, as soon as they saw Nimai, they all chanted, Hari, Hari. So this is the another lesson, It's not that whenever the time is distress or time is difficult for us, at that time only we have to think of Krishna. But when the time is conducive, when Krishna fulfill our desires, then also we should express our gratefulness, that how grateful we are that Supreme Lord helped us. So this is the mood of all the Navadvipasis. And this is the mood that we should also aspire for, that we should thank Krishna. His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj would always say that only a grateful heart is the true recipient of Krishna's mercy. So we should be very, very grateful in our heart, and then only we'll be the true recipient of Krishna's mercy. Sabara haile ani anirvachanai ranga prashana ashidera haila yena sanga. The people's condition, sabara haila anirvachana ranga. Vrindavan Das Thakur is telling that it's difficult for me to describe the condition of the people there. It's beyond description. Because as if their life have returned to their bodies, because after seeing Nimai, they were in so much bliss, so much happiness, that it's difficult to describe the condition of all the Navadvipasis there who were present, who were literally lamenting of not seeing Nimai. Now they are so much happy, so much bliss that was there, that Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying, Anirvachanya, I have no words to describe their glories and their happiness. When it came to sorrow, then Vrindavan Das Thakur, he made that analogy that, their condition was fish out of water. But now when they're into so much blissful condition, Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying, Anirvachanya, I am short of words. I cannot express the bliss that they were experiencing, as if, their life has come back into their dead bodies, because their bodies were practically dead in the absence of Nimai. But now seeing Nimai back in their own home, they were so happy and they were thinking that our life has come back. আপনারা ঘরে নাহি দেখে দুই চোরে কোঠায় আসিয়াছে কিন্তু চিতানা না পারে. The thieves then realized that, oh, Nimai has ran away, and they were able to see Jagannath Mishra and Mother Shati. And the thieves were thinking that, oh, this is not our own house. We have been illusioned, but they could not understand that what has actually happened, because they were very good in their profession. They know every nook and corner of Navadvip, and they know each and every street. So they were also bewildered, and they were thinking that actually what happened? How come that they want to take Nimai to their own home and they brought Nimai back to his own home? How it happened? And in this, they were also bewildered, and people were so blissful seeing Nimai back to their place. And in this middle of this entire thing, Ganda gole keba kare, avadhana kare, chari dege chai chora palila dare. And, in this middle of it, this whole commotion, because parents were searching for Nimai, and they were thinking, thieves were thinking that, we are bringing Nimai to our own home. But as soon as they make Nimai come down of the shoulder, Nimai immediately ran to his father's lap. And all the Navadvipvasis, they were thinking, oh, Nimai is back, Nimai is back. And they didn't even acknowledge that who brought Nimai. They didn't even think of those two people. But in this entire commotion, both the thieves thought that, well, this is the time. They have been not noticed by anyone. So this is the time. Let's run away. Otherwise, we'll be in danger. Palila dare. Dare means in fear. Now they were in fear that what actually happened. They were illusioned, they were bewildered, but there was a fear also in their heart, because they were thinking that if they are caught, then they'll be in big danger, they'll be in big trouble. So thinking that, they thought, they discussed among themselves that let's run away from this place. And they finally ran away. Parama adbhuta dui chora mane gane, chora bole bhela kiva dila kona jane. And both the thieves, thought, how strange. Parama adbhuta. They were thinking, how strange it is that, we want to steal the ornaments. We were making, building castles in the air. We were eating all those imaginary bananas, and, we were thinking that how we will just retire from this type of life once we'll steal the ornaments. But what actually happened? One of the thieves said, Bhela kiva dila kona jane, as if somebody has performed some magic on us, some black magic is there on us. That's why we forgot the streets of Navadvip and we brought Nimai back to his home. So this way, they were contemplating, and they were thinking about that. They were struck with wonder that what actually happened with them. How come they landed to the home of Nimai? चांदी रखी लेना आजी, बोले दुई चोरे, शिष्टा है दुई चोरा कोला कुली करे. But then both of them concluded, okay, whatever has happened has happened. Now even they were thanking their Ishta Devi, their goddess Chandi, that, oh, we were safe today because of goddess Chandi. And then they regained their composure. They embraced each other, that, okay, whatever has happened has happened. At least we have been not caught by anybody. We are relieved, and it is all because of the mercy of goddess Chandi. So they were thanking goddess Chandi that because of her, they were safe today. And now Vrindavan Das Thakur is describing the good fortune of these two thieves. Paramarthe dui chora mahabhagyavan Narayana yaras kande kharila uthana. So beautiful words. Now he's saying Parama Arthe. In our reality, he's saying that yes, they were thieves and their intention was also not good. They want to steal the ornaments of Nimai. But Parama Arthe, but in actuality, in truth, he's saying those two thieves, Dui Chora, Mahabhagyavan, they were immensely fortunate. They were so fortunate. Why? Because Narayana Yaras Khande, they were able to carry the Supreme Lord Narayana on their shoulders, Karila Uthana, and they were able to carry the Supreme Lord on their shoulders. What a great fortune. So Vrindavan Das Thakur is now glorifying both the thieves, that these two thieves were so glorious, because one of the thieves was doing this service of carrying the Supreme Lord, of giving this wonderful kingly like ride on his shoulders, because Nimai was enjoying it, right? So he was doing a service to please the Supreme Lord, because Supreme Lord Nimai was very, very pleased taking ride on the shoulders of one of the thieves. So definitely he's very, very fortunate. And another thief was also doing devotional service. Why? Because he was feeding Nimai Sandesh. So he was feeding, giving food to Nimai. And Nimai was also very happy because it was Sandesh, which is a favorite food for Nimai. So Nimai was, for both the thieves, Nimai was very happy. And because they were offering their services to Nimai, though their intentions were not good, but their actions were good. Their actions was pleasing Nimai. So Nimai also, bestow immense mercy on those two thieves, that they are, their words have been there on the pages of Chaitanya Bhagavata, that Vrindavan Das Thakur himself is glorifying the fortune of those two great thieves. Let's read the purport. The word Paramarthe means in truth or factuality. Factually, the good fortune of the two thieves is indescribable, because thousands of spiritual practitioners engaged in thousands of spiritual practices yet cannot achieve the service of the Lord. How much we struggle. Day and night we are chanting our rounds. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But with what intention? What is the hidden prayer, that we are singing while we are chanting our rounds? Is that, oh Supreme Lord, oh all attractive Krishna, oh internal potency of the Supreme Lord, oh Radhe, please engage us into your service. So day and night we are praying, we are chanting. So not only we Bhakta yogis, but even Ashtanga yogis, even Jnana yogis, even Karma yogis, by their various practices, their aim is to somehow get engaged in the service of Krishna. So he's saying that all the practitioners, all the transcendentalists, whether they are into that Brahman realization or Paramatma realization or Bhagavan realization, irrespective of that, but all the spiritual practitioners, they are engaged in all those different types of spiritual practices so that somehow they can get the service of the Supreme Lord, which is very, very rarely attained even by Lord Brahma or even by Lord Lakshmi Devi. Lord Lakshmi Devi, Shri, is also massaging the Supreme Lord, is in constant association with the Supreme Lord. So and so much that her abode is actually the chest of the Supreme Lord. She is present as Srivatsa mark on the chest of the Supreme Lord. But still the position of the gopis are much, much more glorious. Why? Because they are in constant service of the Supreme Lord. Their thoughts, their absorption was only with the Supreme Lord. So much so that even when Narayan came in one of the pastime of the gopis just bowed down to Narayan and said, please accept our humble obeisances, but can you please tell us if while coming you have seen our Krishna, in which direction he has gone? So their thoughts were totally absorbed in Krishna. So here also they're saying that so many spiritual practitioners, their aim is to get service. And here we see these two thieves that serving their Supreme Lord. Yet in spite of traveling the sinful road of thievery, because their intention was not good, but due to previous piety, the two thieves, they carried the Supreme Lord Gaura Narayana on their shoulders. So one of the thief carried the Supreme Lord, and another was feeding the Supreme Lord. एथा सर्व गणे मणे करे न विचारा कि अनिला देहा वस्त्र शिरा बंधितारा. Now again, Vrindavan Das Thakur is moving towards the house of Jagannath Mishra, that actually what is happening there. Now the thieves have gone, they were saved, they were grateful to Goddess Chandi, they embraced each other, and they thought, okay, whatever has happened, at least we are saved now. So that is over, but now he is shifting our consciousness towards the house of Jagannath Mishra, that what's happening after seeing they are also in so much bliss that they also didn't acknowledge that who brought Nimai, but now after having Nimai, they were very, very much satisfied after embracing Nimai. And now all the elderly people, what they thought, Etha sarva gana mane karina vichara. Now they started thinking, who brought him back? Ke Anila, who brought him back? At least we should acknowledge that person. And the way to acknowledge is to give a cloth or to tie a turban as a matter of acknowledgement, as a gift. They want to do this thing towards the people who have brought Nimai back to his home. So what they said, Keha bole dekhila na loka dui jane, shishu thui kon deke kari lagamane. And someone said that, yes, I saw two persons were coming here, and they just in a very, very humble mood, they were so humble in that mood of humility, they just set the child down and then they somehow vanished. So some people said that, yes, they saw it, but those two people were so humble that they didn't even thought of, being rewarded. Rather, they just left in a very humble way. So then the announcement was made. Ami ani achi kona jana nahi bole, and they announced that who brought the child, and nobody answered that we brought, because they were actually the thieves who have gone now. So nobody was answering. Then adbhuta dekhya sabe phadi nila bole, and nobody was saying. So they all become perplexed. They all become illusioned. So this is another illusion. So when the thieves were carrying Nimai and they brought him back to his own home, this is one type of illusion. This illusion is normally created by Maya Devi, right? The external energy of Krishna. This is one type of forgetfulness. Krishna says this remembrance and forgetfulness comes from me. Right, in Bhagavad Gita 15:15, which is actually the Paribhasha Sutra of this entire Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that I am the knower of the Vedas, and of the knowers I am to be known. And I am the one who will give you all kind of forgetfulness and remembrance. So when such forgetfulness comes, when we become forgetful of Krishna, then we should understand that this is the work of Maya Devi. While on the other hand, even Mother Yashoda or Mother Shachi or Jagannath Mishra, Nand Maharaj, the pure devotees of the Supreme Lord, are also put into the condition of forgetfulness, where they also don't consider that Krishna or Nimai is the Supreme Lord. But their forgetfulness is to enhance the pastime of Krishna, is to bring some taste in Krishna's pastime. Because if they become oblivious of the fact that their son is not an ordinary child, but is the Supreme Lord, then definitely they will not be able to perform their rasa properly. So their forgetfulness is brought by the internal potency of the Supreme Lord, the Yoga Maya Shakti, so that the pastimes can be enhanced. So in the case of thieves, it was Maya Devi who illusioned both the thieves' intelligence, and they lost their way and somehow brought Nimai back to his own home. While here, when nobody was replying, that who brought Jagannath Mishra and Mother Shachi Devi also become illusioned, also became perplexed, thinking that, how come, does some magic happen that, Nimai is brought back, because we were lamenting for Nimai. So some magic happened. So they were thinking in this way, and they were also of loss of intelligence. They were also put into illusion, but their illusion was by the Yoga Maya Shakti. Right? So this understanding we should try to have. Prabhu, then Sabha Jigna Sena Bapa ke hastai Tani Mai ke to mare ani lapaiya kona thani. So then, because nobody answered, so now they reached Nimai himself and they said, dear child, you only please tell. Bapa ke hate Nimai. The parents asked Nimai, dear child, you only please tell us, who brought you here? Where did they find you? And where have you actually gone? Why have you lost your way? Prabhu bole ami gaya chino ganga tire pataharaya ami vedai nagare. And the Lord said, Prabhu bole ami gaya chino ganga tire. I just went to the banks of Ganga and then somehow I lost my way. Tabe dui jana ama kolite kariya kona pathe ekhane thuli aniya. And then as I lost my way, so I was simply wandering on the streets of Navadvip. Then two strangers came. They took me to the arms, they put me on their shoulders, and they finally brought me here. So Nimai knows that what their intention was, but he didn't disclose. Rather, he also saw the right actions. Sometimes, actions are good, but intentions are wrong. So sometimes Krishna even sees the actions also, and he forgets what is the intention. Like the classic example is of Putana. The action of Putana was very good. Why? Because she came to breastfeed as a motherly affection she wants to, but her intentions were not good. But Krishna, he saw only the actions of Putana, and he gave him the Uchita Dhatri, he gave him the right destination of being a nurse in Golok Vrindavan. So just by seeing the action, Krishna is sometimes pleased. And here also, the thieves, their actions were so good, but their intentions were not good. But still Krishna, the Nimai, he blessed them. Sabha bole mithya kabhu nahi shastra vani daiva rakshe shishu vreda anatha apani. Very, very beautiful words. Now, seeing that they couldn't find any clue that who were those strangers, where they have gone. So they were thinking that it was the will of the providence, because the Supreme Lord wanted that our child should be saved. And so our child was saved, and he was brought safely back home. Rakshive Krishna e Vishwasa Palana. This is one of the limb of Sharanagati. And that's what they are saying. Sabha bole, all the people of Navadvip said, Mithya kabhu nahi shastra vani, means shastra vani, jo shastra mein likha hai, the vani, the instructions of the shastra, it is not mithya, it is not fake, rather it is true. Daivi raksha shishu vriddha anathapni, that it is said that the children, shishu, vriddha, old people, and anatha, the helpless people, they are always protected by the will of the providence. So Supreme Lord himself, Daiva, the Supreme Lord himself gives the protection. In Hindi also, we sometimes, there is a kahavat, we say that Bhagwan ki marzi, Bhagwan chahe to sab kuch ho sakta hai, that kind of thinking we also have that after all these people are ultimately protected by the Supreme Lord. Text 140. E mata vichare karina sarva jane, Vishnu maya mohe keha tatva nahi jane. In this way, the people considered what had happened. But they could not know the facts due to being illusioned by Lord Vishnu's illusory energy. And this illusion is by internal energy, by Yoga Maya Shakti. So this is the purport that we have already discussed, where Mahamaya is also working and Yoga Maya is also working. Both are Krishna's energy. Why? Because Krishna says, Devi Esha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratya. It's Krishna's energy. It's divine. And it's very difficult to pass, to pass over this Maya energy. But that can only happen when one surrenders unto the Supreme Lord. Maya metam tarantite. Then one cross over, very easily cross over this Maya. So the two Mayas are there. One is Mahamaya, one is Yoga Maya. Both of them bring forgetfulness. One brings forgetfulness of Krishna because people are so materialistic, so much into sense gratification that their desire is to forget Krishna. So Maya helps that, okay, if your desire is to forget Krishna, if your desire is only for sense gratification, I will assist you. That's her job. While on the other hand, the pure devotees also forget that, he's the Supreme Lord. And that happened because of the Yoga Maya Shakti, because the Yoga Maya enhances the pastimes so that the proper interchange of rasas can happen between the devotees and the Supreme Lord. Now Vrindavan Das Thakur is giving a Falashruti. So all of you have heard this entire beautiful narration for an hour. So now here comes the Falashruti for all of us. Veda Gopya E Saba Akhyane Yeshuni Tanradeda Bhakti Hai Chaitanya Charane. So all those who have heard with rapt attention, our Vrindavan Das Thakur is giving this benefit. This is the confidential thing which is being described in the Vedas. Sabha akhyana yeshune, those who speak or those who hear. Akhyane, when one speaks such topics and one hears such topic, tanra drida bhakti hai chaitanya charane, they will attain the firm devotion of the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. So this is the benediction for all of us, including myself, that, we all, because we heard, we spoke such beautiful childhood pastimes of Nimai with so much rapt attention, that now Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying that we will be the recipient to get Krishna's, to get Chaitanya Charan, to get the mercy, the lotus feet of Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. See, the childhood pastimes of Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are very, very rare. Very, very, very rare. And they are so sweet. These childhood pastimes are not there in Golok Vrindavan also. Only if we want to relish those pastimes, that can only be relished when we are into this Bauma Vrindavan consciousness, right? Because these childhood pastimes are always performed only on the earthly planet. They are not there in Golok Vrindavan. So they are very, very rare. Very, very rare. And because of these acharyas, because of the mercy of these acharyas who are penning down these beautiful pastimes for us, and so that we can relish those pastimes. And on top of that, when we hear with rapt attention, when we speak with rapt attention, immense mercy flows, immense mercy. And that is the benediction that is being given by our Vrindavan Das Thakur. Text 143. That is the last verse for today, which is the concluding verse that Vrindavan Das Thakur always quotes in his Caitanya Bhagavata at the end of every chapter. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Chand Jana Vrindavan Dasat Chupade Yuga Gana. So Shri Krishna Chaitanya, who are the moon of Navadvip, they are Chaitanya Chandra, Nityananda Chandra. They are my life and soul. Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying, they are my life and soul. And Vrindavan Dasatachu Pada Yogi Gana. And I sing the glories of their lotus feet of Chaitanya Chandra and Nityananda Chandra. So this is how he concluded this beautiful pastime. So we'll stop here now. So thank you all so much for your wonderful association, for helping me to relish this pastimes, and hope you also relished this wonderful pastime, and we all can be the recipient of getting the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the benediction being given by Vrindavan Das Thakur. So thank you all so much. We'll stop here. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Kirtida Sundari Mataji. What a beautiful class. Thank you so much. It was like seeing the pastimes live. And I was just, as you were narrating the pastime, I was thinking, did these thieves actually develop love of God, or did they get mercy of the Lord? And towards the end, you did answer that question, that just by feeding and carrying Nimai, they received a lot of mercy. So thank you so much for talking about it. And it was also reminding me of the pastime of the thief who was meditating on robbing Krishna's jewelry in Vrindavan, and he had so much thought about it that he actually saw Krishna face to face. So, so much meditation about the jewelry and how the Lord looks like. And I was also thinking how it is so important, like people like you who dress deities, how much meditation goes on into the dressing of the deities. Just by meditating on how the deity would look like, it is so beautiful actually. Yeah, it's so beneficial for our devotional service as well. How to decorate the deity, how the deity would look after he's dressed with these jewels or with the cloth. Of course, jewels and cloth is not giving beauty to the deity is giving beauty to them, but still just the meditation on that, it goes a long way. So just putting myself in the shoes of the thieves and thinking how fortunate they were. Thank you, Mataji. Fantastic class.
Thank you, Preeti Vilasti Mataji. Yes, very true. Even Vrindavan Das Thakur says that so bhagyavan, so fortunate were those thieves. And as you said, it's not only about dressing the Supreme Lord, it's rather doing any service for the Supreme Lord requires a lot of absorption, a lot of preparation, whether it is cooking, whether it is cleaning, whether it is dressing the deities, or whether if somebody is performing arati. It has to be done with right absorption, with right consciousness. That even if when we are cooking, we should have this mindset that what my Supreme Lord likes and, how I should cook, keeping always praying for Srimati Radharani, who is cooking eternally for the Supreme Lord. And even if we are doing cleaning, the best of the cleaning has to be done, just like Mahaprabhu depicted in that Gangundicha pastime. So any service we perform, it has to be performed with right sincerity, right absorption, and with good meditation. Not only dressing, but any service we perform.
Fantastic. Very, very nice. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Parima Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, the wonderful, wonderful narration of the pastime. Every time we hear it, it feels like we have visited Navadvip and we can see the whole pastime in front of our eyes. It's so purifying, Mataji. Thank you so much. I just needed one repetition. I kind of missed out that point. That why is baby Nimai wearing so much of jewelry, even though his parents are so poor? I kind of missed that out. If you can please repeat it, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you, Parima Mataji. First of all, I would say, if you are able to envision this pastime, so it is all because of your own sincerity.
No, Mataji. It's because of devotees association like you, Mataji.
I'll not agree to it, Mataji, but it is definitely by the rapt attention of the listener that, they are able to envision the pastime. And regarding your question that why Nimai was wearing the ornaments, so I was telling that how Vrindavan Das Thakur describes that when Mother Shachi gave birth to Nimai and she was there in the maternity room for a month, and that time so many demigoddesses came, the wives of all the demigods, all the apsaras, they all came and presented that beautiful ornaments, expensive ornaments from the heavenly planets to Nimai and to Mother Shachi. And Mother Shachi was also thinking, who are they, from where they have come, why they are bringing so gifts. But Vrindavan Das Thakur describes that out of shyness, she didn't speak anything. Rather, it was just, they were simply giving these wonderful gifts. And these all ornaments, Nimai himself was wearing when, this entire pastime happened. Hope that helps.
Yes, Mataji. So that means that these were divine ornaments. They were not like worldly ornaments.
Not worldly ornaments, but also Vrindavan Das Thakur says that because those ornaments were touching the divine body of the Supreme Lord, those ornaments also became divya, became divine. So it's both the ways. Yes, they were divine ornaments, but also because they were worn by the divine personality, the ornaments became divine.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams to you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna and pranams. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yeah, just now in answering Mataji's question, you mentioned the shyness on the part of whom?
Mother Shachi.
Out of shyness, what was she shy about?
Because they were coming, they were glorifying the beauty, they were glorifying Mother Shachi of being so fortunate, and they were presenting so wonderful gifts. So Mother Shachi was in shyness. Vrindavan Das Thakur describes this.
Yeah, also, when we say that by hearing this pastime, by speaking this pastime, we obtain the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. Practically speaking, what does that mean to attain his lotus feet? I know mercy, somehow mercy, but
Mahavadanna, he is Mahavadan. So receiving his mercies, receiving his lotus feet means receiving the mercy of getting engaged, glorifying him, doing his kirtan, offering our prayers. That Navavida Bhakti, we get an opportunity to perform that.
Okay. And this word charan, the translation is feet, right?
Yeah.
Charan. Huh?
Chaitanya Charan means the lotus feet of the Supreme
Uh-huh.
We discussed in that how the devotees always aspire for the shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, because they think themselves that they are only eligible for the lotus feet.
Uh-huh. Okay. Thank you, Mataji.
Anyone else?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Very, very wonderful pastime. It was such a, we hear about the thieves trying to steal Nimai's jewelry, and I've read it many times, but the way you said it today was so relishable, very nice. And though we can actually imagine how one of the thieves have got Nimai on his shoulder, and the other is nicely feeding him Sandesh. What an opportunity for them. Do we know if they became part of the Sankirtan movement in Navadvip after that, Mataji?
What that day?
Did they become a part of the Sankirtan movement? No, nothing is mentioned. This is it.
Yeah.
Okay. I was also wondering, if they are thieves, so they are bad people, but they're still worshipping some form, some demigod.
Oh yes, even the decor.
So, but nowadays they don't do that.
No, some belief is there, that was the time, even the dacoits, they worship Chandi, Ma Kali, this is actually the worship in the mode of ignorance, as per Bhagavad Gita it says, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But
Thank you so much. Sorry, please go ahead.
I was just saying that they were also worshipping, some demigods, some demigoddesses they used to worship.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Very, very relishable class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Kirtida Sundari Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji, for such a beautiful class. As Indulekha Karuna Mataji was saying, very beautifully explained the whole pastime we could see in front of our eyes, and how the thieves were nicely walking in the forest, carrying our Nimai as a king. It is so nice, right? And I was thinking, like, when they were meditating on the jewelry of the Lord, that means they are also meditating on the transcendental body of the Lord, because they are like, oh, this earring means ear is also, earring is in on ear, right? So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so merciful that, you are not directly meditating on him, but still you are indirectly meditating, but still so much of mercy has given to these thieves, right? Very lucky thieves. Mataji, very beautiful.
That's the sight of a pure devotee like yourself, who is taking it onto the positive note that, when they were contemplating on the ornaments, they were also contemplating on the body. But actually, that was not the case. They were totally materialistic, worldly thieves, and they were simply meditating on the ornaments, not on Nimai. But you are so kind enough that you are also seeing the best part, that they might be thinking on the body of Nimai. But actually, those thieves were simply, in sense gratification, they just want the ornaments.
Thank you so much for such a beautiful class. And also, I remember in Guru Maharaj's lecture, it is said like how when Sachi Mata was pregnant itself, all people used to come and just knock their doors and, you take this Lakshmi, you take this gift, like that. Before even Nimai was born itself, when she was carrying, and then, Sachi Mata and I forgot. Nilam. What was it?
Jagannath Mishra.
Jagannath Mishra, I forgot the name. See, Jagannath Mishra, both were wondering why people are coming and giving so much of Lakshmi. I think something auspicious is going to happen, like that they were thinking. I remember from Guru Maharaj's lecture, Mataji. It was very nice. Thank you, Mataji, for beautiful class.
Thank you, Mataji. So I just, I was trying to search and I saw this verse. I'll just read out for those who asked, like Parima Mataji and Gaurangi Mataji. So it is said that when the Brahmana did not mention anything about the Lord's except, okay, this is the thing. And then Jagannath Mishra was overwhelmed with ecstasy upon hearing the child's glories, that he desired to give some charity. So this is the mindset of Jagannath. And then what happened is, Vrindavan Das Thakur says, Deva Striya Nari Striya Na Parichinite Deva Nari Ekatra Haila Bhalamate. The demigoddesses mixed unnoticed with the ladies of Navadvip, they were present. And Aditi, the mother of all the demigods, everybody was there and they were giving good, nice, expensive ornaments. And then Mother Sachi, she saw Apurva Sundari Sabha Sachi Deva Deki. She was Apurva Sundari. She was so beautiful. And she saw those beautiful demigoddesses also there. But she was too shy to inquire about their identities. So she didn't ask for their identities, but she was so happy seeing them. And to an extent, that demigoddesses, they took the dust of the Shachi Mata's feet, and Shachi Mata became speechless out of joy. So they were thinking that how Mother Shachi is so fortunate that they were taking the dust of the lotus feet of Mother Shachi. But Mother Shachi, she became speechless because of the joy she was experiencing by having Nimai. So Vrindavan Das Thakur writes this. Just want to clarify. Yes, Indulekha Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for sharing that. In Krishna's pastime, do they appear like that in Mother Yashoda's house? The demigods or the wives of the demigod?
It's
because
just
we always hear, okay, at the end of any demon killing, the demigods shower flowers.
That's it here in Bhagavatam. It's only the showering. Yeah.
Garbhastuti for Devaki, I think it was there, right? The Garbhastuti prayers.
Yeah, Garbhastuti prayers are there where they offer, but it was before Krishna was born. And anything else, Priti will ask me, do you remember that, they personally come?
No, nothing like that, because all the eternal associates are already there in Vrindavan. So I don't know. Yeah, that's how. I don't remember any verse, but it could be that I don't remember. Because when the Nandotsav ceremony, the cradle ceremony is described, I don't remember.
Okay, so my question was related to like how you were explaining that for the thieves, they were under illusory potency as in the Mahamaya Shakti. Whereas Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata and all of them were under the Yoga Maya potency. So is it like this, that anybody who is an associate of the Lord will always be under Yoga Maya potency? Is that how it is? Or
So,
okay, and all of the others, like all of us are, I mean, or me, I would be under always the Mahamaya potency.
yeah, everybody has to be under Maya Shakti. Now it may be a Maya Shakti, means Yoga Maya Shakti or a Mahamaya Shakti, but everybody has to be in some or the other Shakti. That's for sure. So if we are not, if we defy the supremacy of the Supreme Lord, if we don't acknowledge his greatness or his sweetness, then we are always in the Maya Shakti, that is Mahamaya, because she will help us so that we may stay away from Krishna's glories and Krishna's sweetness. But if some devotees, when they try to overcome all the obstacles and they want to have that relationship with the Supreme Lord, and once being tested by Maya Shakti, then she herself helps that conditioned soul so that we can come closer to the Supreme Lord. And once we come closer to the Supreme Lord, then we are always under Yoga Maya Shakti, because then, we can have that eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. That's how it works. But the pure devotees, the eternal associates of Krishna, they are always under Yoga Maya Shakti. But Baddha Jiva, the conditioned souls, they are always under Mahamaya Shakti. Got it, Mataji?
Very clearly. Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Mataji. So can I just extend that? And it might be a very wrong way of understanding it. So, okay. So is that why we always have to take shelter of Srimati Radharani? Because she would be she is the internal potency of the Lord. She is the Shakti from where all of these, they get their power. Is that?
Of course. That's why we always take shelter of Srimati Radharani. For Gaudiya Vaishnavas, our Ishta Devi is Srimati Radharani. We worship Krishna because Krishna is being worshipped.
Krishna is very dear to Srimati Radharani.
Yes.
Okay. Oh yeah. So my question was more like, okay, do we worship her to get out of this Maya from this world? So that's why I was asking that.
Yeah.
Did that make sense? Oh no, yeah.
Of course. We worship so that we stay away from Maya. Yes, even Srila Prabhupada used to worship. Once, even the disciples of Prabhupada, they asked that, Prabhupada, you're not afraid of Maya? Then Prabhupada would say, no, I'm never afraid of Maya. We should be afraid of Maya, but I'm never afraid. Why? Because every day I pray to Srimati Radharani, to Krishna, to keep me away from your Maya Shakti. It's so important. Yes, we should pray. And this example is given when we have a bead bag. So this is how we chant, right? We keep our finger out. So this is a gun shooting. It's an open war declared against Maya Devi, that you, how much ever try to put me away from Krishna, but because I'm taking shelter of my beads, this is an open war that we declare, that we will be always surrendered to Krishna, no matter how many tantrums you throw to us with all difficult circumstances, but we'll always be under the shelter of the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada says, but we should rather take a humble position, because this Maya Shakti is also not an ordinary Shakti. It's a Daivi Esha Gunama, Krishna says it is my. So something that belongs to Krishna cannot be that ordinary. So we should rather declaring or just saying that open war, rather we should be humble enough, requesting that, oh Maya Devi, please somehow, help me so that I can come closer to Krishna. Rather, giving me so many tests so that I cannot pass over, because Krishna says you cannot cross over, but once you surrender unto me, it's very easy to cross over. It becomes the entire ocean, this entire Bhavsagar becomes a water that is contained in a calf of print. How difficult it is. Even a child can just jump over and cross it. So when we are chanting, we are totally surrendering unto the Supreme Lord, but at the same time, we also pray to Maya Devi to help us, because she also helps when we become totally surrendered after so many tests. She also helps us to become closer to Krishna. So we keep on praying that please help us so that we can move closer towards Krishna. So our prayer can be in that form. Yes, Indulika.
Thank you, Mataji. Very, very well said. I was also thinking, yeah, that when you said, oh my God, we are declaring an open war, I was thinking more like, oh, I would like to rather stay under the radar so that I don't get so that I don't fall, get noticed by Maya Devi. But but you were like, no, we are very bold. We're going to declare a war on her. But ultimately, we have to take that humble position. Thank you so much, Mataji. Yeah, Hare Krishna. And your voice is back. It's such a miracle.
My voice is back. I was thinking that I'll cough a lot, but by all your prayers, not much cough was there.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I think I have to go back to that verse that you found.
Yeah, it's from Caitanya Bhagavata, chapter number 3 and verse number 34 onwards, where the demigoddesses come and they shower their blessings.
Yeah. I think, did you say that when the demigods were glorifying her, she became very happy?
Yeah, she became happy, but also she became happy not because they were glorifying her. She became happy.
That's the thing. That's the thing I wanted to clarify.
She was actually happy having Nimai in her lap. Her only joy was holding Nimai. That's the only joy Mother Shachi had. Not because they were touching their feet, her feet, or whether they were glorifying. No, her joy was only because she was holding Nimai in her lap.
Because the way it was worded, I mean, I don't know if you're reading word for word, but the way it was worded, it was as if to say, it was sequential like that, Oh, okay. Yeah, and one other thing, did I hear you correctly to say that those thieves, they got to like carry Nimai and feed Nimai because of some past Agyata Sukriti?
Yeah, and that's what Vrindavan Das Thakur writes, that, it is because of the past piety. That's what in verse number 132, I can share once again. So in 132, here it says, Vrindavan Das Thakur says, the good fortune of the two thieves is indescribable because thousands of spiritual practitioners engaged in thousands of spiritual practices cannot achieve the service of the Lord, which is rarely attained by even Lord Brahma. Yet, in spite of traveling the sinful road of thievery, due to previous piety, the two thieves carried the Supreme Lord Gaur Narayan on their shoulders. So that what our Divine Grace, His Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes that maybe because of the previous piety that they were good fortune, they received that good fortune that they were able to carry the Supreme Lord on their shoulders. But ultimately, we have to understand that what is the reason of Mahaprabhu to come? The reason for Mahaprabhu to come is Mahavadanyaya, that he is so magnanimous that he is just coming to deliver the mercy onto the fallen souls only. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karo More Toma Ben Ke Dayalu Jagat Samsare Patita Pavana Hetu Tava Avatara Mosama Patita Prabhu Napai Peara. Narottam Das Thakur is saying that your coming to this world is Patita Pavana Hetu Tava Avatara. Your Hetu, the reason for you to come in this material world is to liberate Patita Pavana. You are, you have come to liberate everyone from this samsara. So Narottam Das Thakur is saying that you will not find any big, patita, na paibe patita, paibe na ara. You will not find anyone more patita than me. That is the humble position that Narottam Das Thakur is taking. But in nutshell, Mahaprabhu's avatar, Mahaprabhu came to liberate all the fallen souls. So just like Jagai and Madai, just like these thieves, that's what Mahaprabhu comes to liberate everybody, to give this by this kind of service to everybody, so that everybody can be liberated.
I just find it interesting that, when I think of past pious credit, and a person getting the benefit of past pious credit in their present lifetime, I don't think we normally think of people misusing that past pious credit. I think we would normally think that if we have some Agyata Sukriti, it would be implemented or utilized or taken advantage of in some positive way. But in the case of these thieves, it's like they kind of misused their Agyata Sukriti,
How come they misused? It's because of, even they have not misused. They are in the pages of Srimad Caitanya Bhagavata itself gives that how much fortunate they were. That Vrindavan Das Thakur himself, he is glorifying them as Mahabhagyavan. So they have not misused, their intention.
I said misused because their intention was not good.
Intention was wrong, but that's what it's been explained, that sometimes, our actions also speak. Krishna always sometimes regards our actions also. Though the ideal situation is when our actions, our intentions, they match. And they have the pleasure for Krishna. But sometimes Krishna sees only the intentions, not the actions, and sometimes sees only the actions, not the intentions, because Krishna wants to find some or the other way to bestow his mercy. That's he come to bestow his mercy. So Krishna sometimes ignore our intentions and sees our actions, sometimes ignore our actions and sees our intentions, because while chanting, it's always explained that no matter, even if our mind is going here and there, but if we still bring back our mind, still focus around, Krishna sees only the intentions, that with what intentions we are chanting, Krishna knows, Krishna will reciprocate. Yes. So Krishna sometimes ignores our actions and reciprocate as per our intentions. But sometimes Krishna ignores our intentions and reciprocate our external actions. But ideal situation is when our actions and our intentions is favorable, is anukuliyena Krishna, anushilanam bhaktiruttama. That is how
that's very sweet. But we cannot predict, right, when he will ignore actions, when he will ignore intentions.
Exactly. Our thing is, our aspirations should be that our intentions and actions should be for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord.
Yeah, that was beautiful, Mataji. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you all so much. We'll stop here now because I have one doctor appointment also now, so I have to leave. So Shivali Mataji, would you like to take over?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for
Oh, 1 minute. I am seeing one message. Today is your birthday, Mataji. So wish you a very, very happy Krishna conscious birthday. May you progress in your spiritual life. And I pray to the divine couple to always shower their causeless mercy on you so that you can progress more and more.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for your blessings. Thank you very, very